not machines. We're about to see Austrian-born bodybuilder Arnold Schwarzenegger go for his 6th straight Mr. Olympia title. Arnold is 27 years old, and he's on the verge of stardom and an eventual Hollywood career. Arnold won his...
In modern times, the biggest name in competitive bodybuilding is Arnold Schwarzenegger, the current and defending champion of Mr. Olympia. 28 years old, 6'2", 240 pounds, Arnold has held the title for the past 5 consecutive years, in addition to being Mr. Universe 5 times prior to that. Today, in the auditorium of the University of South Africa, he again looks like the favorite to win this year's Mr. Olympia title. Right now, you're watching Arnold in the pre-judging competition, in which the competitors are awarded their scores. There are 2 classes, the tall man and the small man divisions. The winner from each category will compete against each other for the title of Mr. Olympia. Earlier, we talked with Arnold about his total dominance of the sport.
Well, Arnold, in the last few years, you've become a very famous person in the United States. You've been in movies, of course, your pictures are in all of the health division.
Now comes the finalists from the tall man group. There are only 3, and each has been individually prejudged. The winner will be shortly announced. Competing are Arnold Schwarzenegger and Lou Ferrigno of the United States, along with Serge Nubret of France. Remember, these are professional bodybuilders, so winning the championship is vital in terms of endorsements, personal appearances, and other income-producing activities.
Pretty tough. There's going to be Franco Columbu and Arnold Schwarzenegger, and they're going right up on the podium now, side by side.
I think it's really going to be great, Bob. These 2 guys, interestingly enough, pose together all the time in combination. They do a demonstration where they go around the country and pose together, so they know every trick the other one has.
The other bodybuilders were a little bit intimidated by Arnold. You had to be, because first of all, he had the best body, and secondly, he knew it, and he just stood up there and he demanded respect. And that's the way they did. They stood in line and saluted Arnold.
They both tend to favor crunch shots, the shots that show the whole upper body. Now they're starting off with double bicep. And this is the compulsory poses at the head.
Okay, they'll go through this first, right?
Right, and after the compulsory poses, there'll be a period when they can go into freestyle posing, which would be when they really begin to get inventive. The next shot in the compulsory poses is a lat spread. Franco probably has the edge in this shot because of the enormous lats that he's got. You see how well designed these compulsory poses are, Bob? Because
now I want to ask you something. Has Columbu ever beaten Schwarzenegger?
He's never beaten him in a contest.
So there's no real reason to believe he's going to do it today. And that's why they call him the king. Or I guess he named himself the king.
Bob, now they're going into the individual posing routine. You can see Franco again talking to him here. And you see how Franco hurries up to get into the act.
Franco gets more poses in, right?
Right. He bats his poses out. He gets them really out quicker. Arnold takes more time. You see how they're both concentrating on the power shots. Look at Arnold move now. Arnold's really moving, trying to keep up with him. And Franco seems to be taking his time there. Wait and see. Well, that's a good tackle.
Arnold just took a little look at it.
Right? And he's showing more of his back. Franco, now Franco's getting into his back. You see how the way they watch each other during a pose-off, which is interesting. You've got to be conscious of the other guy and what he's doing so that you can match his shot, and in some cases do it more impressively. And then Franco's going down on his knees.
He's going to try to hide those legs that you mentioned earlier.
Try to hide those legs and getting down on his knees, showing he has a great back, and he's showing that back. Arnold is staying with a big, clean, long line classical shots like this one here. Old classical pose. This one here, 3/4 back.
And now the competition is over. The judges are tabulating the scores, and in just a moment, we'll know if Franco Columbu has managed to pull an upset over Arnold Schwarzenegger and win this year's title of Mr. Olympia. If Arnold wins, it may be the last time we'll see this great bodybuilder in competition. As he's indicated, he'll retire after today. Okay, here comes the announcement.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And so the king has done it again. Arnold Schwarzenegger successfully defending his title for the 6th consecutive year. The trophy for Mr. Olympia, presented this year by Dr. P.G. Kornhoff, Minister of Sport for the nation of South Africa, and Ben Weider, President of the International Federation of Bodybuilders. And so on behalf of all the 97-pound weaklings in our audience today, this is Bob Beatty saying so long from Pretoria, South Africa.